Hey everyone, Xeno here, and once this video dropped, we're just days past from Puchi Con, but I'd like to be able to give some opinions about the convention that has happened this past weekend. I was totally excited for this adventure because normally this is the first time I'm going in as a guest. Usually whenever I attend Puchi Con, I usually help out, I usually volunteer, but I wasn't mentally well to be able to help out for this year's Puchi Con over at Fort Lee, and so I decided to become a guest. I decided to check out Puchi Con and see what's the whole fuss about. Of course, I do have social anxiety, which is a great another contribution as to why I did not volunteer for Puchi Con. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about Puchi Con. So here's the review. So let's talk about the pros of Puchi Con this year. First off, I feel like the choice of the hotel is much better than the one that was used for the previous 2 years of Puchi Con. For 2 years straight, Puchi Con has been held at the Embassy Suites, but I feel like that the convention itself has great potential to grow. Really needed that big oomph. And so having 2 panel rooms and a vending room really helped out with the convention. I feel like with the 2 panel rooms, it gave congoers more options to which panel they would like to be able to attend. It gave those who want to host panels a much greater opportunity rather than using one room. They could be able to be placed in either or. And on top of that, some of the merchandise, some of the stuff that is being sold at the vending room is just phenomenal, and we're gonna get into that in a moment with great detail. Alright, there were a few stumblings during the conventions, but all conventions could go through those. But I feel like that the staff has done an exceptional job catering to the guests. If guests were to be confused on where they need to be able to go, staff members are on top of it. They want to make sure that those who are checking in go to the right direction. Those who are going to the panel rooms know how to be able to get over there. And on top of that, if a vendor really needed something, if they weren't pretty rude or pretty disrespectful, which we may get into that in a moment, Puchi Con staffers were on top of it. The technician of Puchi Con is fantastic. He has done a great job helping out with the panelists and also with the music, the audio, and the visuals for not only the panelists but also the rave party and also the cosplay masquerade. All the staffers are very friendly, they're very helpful, and they're just on top of things like 9 or 8 times, or actually 8 or 9 times out of 10, they're just there. They're ready to be able to help out. Speaking of panels, I feel like that panels from both across the rooms were amazing this year. There were some I didn't go this year, but the ones that I attended were educational, they were exciting, they were fun. I helped out with the cosplay masquerade, which was exciting and a great experience. First time I've ever done something like this. The best panel, in my opinion, is the mental health panel, where the guest speakers inform about the mental health and how people deal with it, given some words of encouragement, has done some meditation, has offered up an app or even ways to be able to communicate with people in hopes of reaching out, trying to be able to or deal with the stigma of anxiety, depression, and other harmful mental thoughts. It's just so astonishing what Puchi Con has done with their panels for this year, and hopefully in the future we'll get even more exciting guests and also educational stuff, just like what I've gone for from this past weekend. For this year, I feel like there's been a lot more artists selling their stickers, their artworks, their crafts than merchandising, which is actually a pretty awesome thing that Puchi Con has done. There's tend to be a mixture of merchandise and artwork. I've seen a comic book collection that is being sold to congoers, which I'm pretty sure it was the first time that Puchi Con has ever done that. And of course there's anime merchandise and pop figures, some retro games, not so much, but a table that has been filled with retro games and also weird, crazy plushies that is being sold. But for the most part, I couldn't count no more than nearly a dozen artists that is ready to sell their artwork, their stickers, their snow globes, their vases, even the pin that I've gotten was being sold. And hopefully we could be able to see more of these artists coming back to Puchi Con, or even future artists as well selling their stuff. I will admit I'm not a party goer, or I'm not a rave person unless I have a couple of drinks, but after hearing what my friend has done during the rave party, I gotta say it's one of the biggest successful rave parties to have happened during the 3-year period that PuchiCon has been doing their events. This year things got better with Awesome Prime, Akohi and Dolphin. Some of my friends and her colleagues got the groove going on, and the party was pretty much kick ass. Hopefully we could be able to have a much bigger after party in future events, and that these guys come back. Not every convention bats 1,000. Conventions do have their faults, and here are some that PuchiCon has suffered. For this year, I feel PuchiCon suffered from its location and where it's taking place. No disrespect to the hotel and no disrespect for PuchiCon, but the location was being held near one of the bridges that connects between New Jersey and New York City. So one of the biggest problems is, of course, going to be traffic. Traffic jams could really cause huge delays for those who are attending as a panel or wanted to be able to go to a convention. Also, looking for the hotel was pretty much a task. It was a journey because the location for PuchiCon is on one side of the highway, and you can't really get on that side of the highway unless you're able to find a U-turn, which is pretty much a struggle. And I even heard stories of taxi drivers and Uber drivers and even people having a hard time getting over to PuchiCon. I myself had a hard time going to the convention the day before the convention was being held. So hopefully, if PuchiCon is going to be held somewhere around that location, you know, it gotta be either at a better be able to get there a little more smoother, a little more easier, or have some sort of guidance, so to say, because not every even the address for the convention location was so dang difficult to be able to get. I have to be at the convention location just to be able to get the address of the GPS for my vehicle. So hopefully in future events it's going to be held in a much more easier location. Although the vending room got great artists, great merchandise to sell, I kind of feel like walking around the vending room was unorganized and was pretty staggered, even confusing on which way I could go. Now, it's pretty understandable because of the situation that we're in with COVID. The staffers are doing their best to be able to maintain social distancing, maintain the safety of all staff members, of all congoers, of all panelists, and also those who are selling. But the way they structured the vending room was pretty confusing in certain ways. I could be able to, like, pass in between a couple of tables and such. I even heard stories that the vending room was not well organized, was pretty confusing, unlike how it was last year, where it's pretty much, you know, well rounded. You only got one direction to be able to go to, or you have enough space for 2 lines. This year it was pretty difficult to be able to get through. Not too difficult to say that the room is cluttered, but a little difficult not to be able to knock into people, not to be able to knock down the merchandise and such. And even the entryway and the exit way, it could have been structured a little bit better, because I myself has used the entryway as an exit multiple times, and there was really no repercussion for doing something like that. Now, I won't put this as a grade towards Puchi Con, but it is important to get this out. Not all panelists and vendors were rude. In fact, these people were amazing. They're just such wonderful people to be able to warm up, hopefully try to be able to have people get involved in their panels or even purchase their merchandise. But there were in particular one or two people within Puchi Con that kind of like gave a rude or a nasty attitude here and there. Of course, they may not know that I have social anxiety and depression, and it really clicks me off. It really pretty much makes me feel like I'm on an island whenever they present their aggressive attitude towards me. One of the panels has that towards me, and it's pretty surprising that I still attended to his panel, because I myself have a passion for gaming. I'm involved in game designing, and unbeknownst to that panelist, I'm also a Twitch streamer who do enjoy streaming retro games, any games that is from the NES all the way to the PS, actually now the PS4 and the Xbox One. And I kind of like gotta give a little bit of forgiveness for what he has done, because I have overheard how what's been going on with him and such, and part of me feels like to relate. Not so much. Excuse me. Not so much towards a vendor who pretty much demanded for either the staff members or even the organizer, the creator of PuchiCon, to clean up his mess and to clean up the mess in his hotel room. If you're gonna have that type of attitude, then I'm pretty sure that vending at a convention is not your thing. So, if it's gonna be these type of obnoxious demands, you might as well just sell at your store or do eBay or such. We could all have a bad time. We could all have a pretty crappy time either before the convention, during the convention, or even after the convention. But we're here to have fun. We're here to make connections. We're here trying to be, chill with one another, have a good time. Just be kind to one another, give some respect here and there. Let the person have their moment, and then you could be able to give your opinion or your retort or anything like that. Just don't be rude. That's the whole point of it. Despite how amazing the panels were, I feel like some panels were overlapping other panels and giving them little to no time for preparation, for getting things organized and such. I feel like the cosplay masquerade was overshadowing another panel, and it pretty much caused some sort of conflict as to how these panels need to be handled. Of course, I do feel like that there should be a grace period for some of these panels. Give them a little more extra time to be able to set up, give them a little more extra time to be able to get ready, and have things all prepared for the guests to come in and know what they're going to be learning about. Of course, I would say that the cosplay masquerade is much better to do it on one night rather than on 2 nights, because of the situation that has happened with one of the panels and such. And if not, then I would say that have the cosplay masquerade team up with the DJ to do the cosplay masquerade, and then after announcing the winners, they would do the party right then and there. Just move the seats along and then just do the party right there and there. Because from what I've heard, the second day of the cosplay masquerade was endangering of another panel that nearly canceled it. Thankfully, the panelist didn't cancel his panel. It went on. It was pretty good, but man, oh man, these overlaps gotta be dealt with, and they gotta be able to either be very punctual with it, have the event only on one day rather than on both days, or even give some sort of grace period. Try to find a way to be able to manage the time on these panels. Overall, I would give Puchi Con a B grade. The convention is very consistent with being very fun, very exciting for all ages, and it pretty much improved this year compared to the past 2 years with an added panel, giving Congoers more options. The vending room was great. A lot of artists out there selling their amazing craft, and even trying to be able to get support on their social media. And it's going to be at a point where it's going to be one of the prime conventions in the tri-state area. But the convention is still going through some growing pains. They need to be able to better organize their vending room. They need to be able to set up better schedules for panels. But overall, it's fun for kids and for congoers. And that's the review, everybody. Thank you all for tuning in. I will be attending Puchi Con this August 28th and August 29th. I'm not entirely certain whether I'm going in as a volunteer or whether I'm going in as a guest, and whether I'm going to be hosting a panel or so. But there's still time to go, and hopefully at this location, which is going to be held at the Showboat Hotel in Atlantic City, it's going to be more extravagant than Fort Lee. Again, PuchiCon is a great convention to be able to go to. It's starting to becoming very consistent with how they're handling with their congoers, with their vendors, their panelists, and also the rules, regulations of the whatever the hotels are putting out. And maybe this at this event is going to be one of the biggest conventions that PuchiCon has ever held. So be sure to give this video a like, subscribe to my YouTube channel, share with your friends and family and all, and be sure to give comments below. Tell me your experience of PuchiCon this past weekend. As always, be awesome and stay awesome.